I'm not worried, and I am not afraid. I'll tell you why. I know that women are the most powerful force in the world. I know that we will all be in full rebellion. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but I know women will not go back. We were made for this moment, and we are ready. Are we ready? So starting right now, there were thousands of people out in the city of Chicago. There were thousands of women around the country that are out. This is not going to stop, because when we fight, we win. We win. When we fight, we win. Women will not go back. Thank you, my sisters and my brothers that are standing with me. Thank you.
Senator Schumer. All right, I don't see him, so we're going to keep it moving. I am really proud to announce a good friend and ally from In Our Own Voice, the Black Women's Reproductive Justice Collective Agenda, Jessica Pinckney.
All right. So I'm with In Our Own Voice, and we are so excited to be with our partners, all 50 plus here in DC, as well as across the country, as we say, stop the ban! 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 We are a national state partnership with 8 Black women-led reproductive justice organizations across this country. And each and every one of them is fighting like hell against abortion bans like those that are popping up all across this country. In Missouri, in Louisiana, in Alabama, in Georgia, our partners, Spark and Sister Love, are pissed off peaches, banging down the doors of the Georgia State Capitol, reminding legislators that quote-unquote heartbeat bans are unethical and do not center our bodily autonomy. In Louisiana, our partner, Women with a Vision, took over the Louisiana State Capitol last week to remind their legislators they cannot, they will not be silenced. We will not be silenced. And tomorrow, they will partner with their sisters in the fight in Louisiana to take to the streets and oppose abortion bans and stop attacks on reproductive justice. Across this country, Black women, women of color, queer and trans individuals, indigenous folks, immigrants, those of us that have the most to lose are putting our lives on the line to fight for the rights we know we deserve. No coincidence that the parts of this country with the worst maternal mortality rates, the highest instances of voter suppression, and overall troublesome healthcare outcomes for Black women are the same states that wish to eliminate our access to abortion care. For far too long, women of color have been disproportionately affected by laws that were designed without our participation, and they clearly do not take our lived realities and aspirations into account. Overtly oppressive legislation like the Hyde Amendment and those recent abortion bans send a clear message to poor folks, to women of color, to trans folks, that we have no power to control our own reproduction under Roe v. Wade, despite the existence of the constitutional right. How can it be that we still do not have enough political will to stand firm and say that we deserve our constitutional right to have autonomy over our bodies and our health? How much longer do we have to wait? When Black women coined 25 years ago. We were intentional about framing our work to dismantle reproductive oppression. Reproductive oppression looks like forced breeding of enslaved black women. It looks like forced sterilization of women deemed feeble-minded. It looks like coercion and lack of respect when we visit our doctors. And it looks like the backwards abortion bans that we're seeing right now. Our lived experiences, as well as the experiences of those who came before us, guide our fight for freedom. With their roadmap, we will win. I believe that 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 we will win.
I'm going to try to speak loudly, and I'm going to introduce our next champion for abortion rights and reproductive justice from the great state of Washington, Senator Patty Murray. Don't do it!
Right up your list.
I know what, there is no getting around this. This is a frightening time. The abortion bans we are seeing across the country, not just in Alabama and Missouri, but in Kentucky, Mississippi, Ohio, Georgia, are not just wrong, they are cruel. They are extreme. And they're designed to control women and utilize doctors. They do the most damage to patients who have the least resources to fight back. They make it harder for women to plan families and be economically secure. And come in after 400 abortions. I can't hear you! Last decade. I'm sorry, I am projecting as much as I can. Are you ready? Now, we have a tough fight ahead. There is no doubt about it, but I have never believed more in the power of women's voices to make change than I do today. When women speak up, change happens. Progress happens. And we, especially every single one of you here today, are what's standing between extreme politicians and the constitutionally protected right to safe, legal abortion. Or where you live or how much money you make, that is your right. And that is what we are fighting for, and I'm sure not going to stop now, are you? No! So let me ask you, are you ready to speak up louder? Yes! Are you ready to fight back harder? Yes! Do you believe we can win? Yes! Well, I do too, and I know our country will be stronger for it, and I'm so glad to be here with all of you. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. We are strong.
We're keeping it moving, folks. I am super excited to introduce another champion, a co-sponsor of the Each Woman Act from the great state of Hawaii, Senator Mazie Hirono.
Women are going to make the difference in 2020. Make the difference in 2020. And we know we're here because there's an all-out assault on women's reproductive rights. Everything from the gag rule for all those institutions or facilities that take Title X funds. The state of Hawaii and other states have said we're not going to take any Title X funds because we want our health care providers to be able to tell women all the choices that they have. But everything from a ban, gag rule, to criminalizing infanticide, which is already a crime, to all of the laws that have been being passed, state after state, Alabama, Georgia, totally eliminating a woman's right to choose. So, you know what? I mean, this is a clear and present danger that pretty soon, at this rate, the women in our country are going to wake up and know that we no longer have control over our bodies. No! We have 5 justices on the Supreme Court who have signaled that they are perfectly willing to undo decades-long precedent. And of course, Roe v. Wade is one of them. That is why we're standing in front of the Supreme Court. Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, are you listening? I just left 60 8th graders from a public school in Hawaii, and I told them I was coming to a rally in front of the Supreme Court, and they said, why? And I said, it's because we have to fight for abortion rights, and they knew all about it. And I asked the girls in that group of 8th graders, how many of you girls think that government should be telling us, women, when and if we want to have babies? Not a single one of them raised their hands. And then the boys who were there, among the 60, I said, it's kind of hard for a woman to get pregnant without you guys. How many? They got it. How many of you boys think government should be telling girls and women when and if we're going to have babies? And not a single one of them raised their hand. Even though there are 5 justices on the Supreme Court, and I would say really led by the most recent addition, Justice Kavanaugh, who already telegraphed his willingness to undo abortion rights for women by his lone dissent in a case that should have been governed by whole women's health, that the Supreme Court decided. He was a lone dissent on that case. So, you know what? All the states know what's at stake. That is why so many of them are passing law after law to restrict or totally take away a woman's right to an abortion. So, just as all of you are standing here, I call on all women and men in this country who care about a woman's constitutional right to an abortion, to organize and to vote only for those candidates who will protect Roe v. Wade and who will fight against all these bills that will constrain and limit a woman's right to control our own bodies. Thank you all very much. We need to fight back. Know that all of us standing here, we are with you. We're in this together, men and women alike, to fight back and make sure that we women can control our own bodies. What could be more fundamental than that? Aloha.
All right, y'all. I know that our sound system is a challenge, but just know that this is what democracy looks like. We're going to keep it moving. I'm really excited to announce the chair of the pro-choice caucus of the great state of Colorado, Congresswoman Diana DeGette.
Women of the House are wearing white, and we have roses and purple ribbons. Today is the 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote in this country. We will never be totally equal until we have the right to full control of our bodies. That means we've got to stop these restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion. Every woman in America should be outraged by what's going on right now. In fact, every person in America should be outraged every woman, the rights of every trans woman in this country. You heard, I'm the co-chair of the pro-choice caucus in this for the first time in our nation's history, we have a pro-choice majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. We will do it. We have legislation. Representative Presley and Chu, all the representatives who are here today, we have legislation to protect a woman's right to choose. We will pass it, but we will only pass it with your help. Can you do that? Yes! This is a key moment in our history, and we won't go back. Join me. We won't go back! We won't go back! We won't go back! Thank you. And because of you, we're going forward. Thank you. Thank you.
Another male champion for abortion rights and access has joined us. Please help me welcome from the great state of New York, Senator Chuck Schumer.
Well, we know what's happened. Those who have planned to repeal Roe and take away a woman's right to choose think they can now win. Can they win? Are they going to beat them? From Alabama to Missouri to Texas and beyond, Republican legislatures are waging a war to unravel a woman's fundamental rights. They are responsible for 300 newly proposed restrictions. We are here to send these folks a message, not on our watch. Most Americans don't want to see Roe overturned, and they're doing a sneak attack. They say, oh, they don't like the Alabama law, and then they vote for judges who will uphold the Alabama law and repeal Roe. They are the kinds of people, this is the act of hypocrisy. Just for a second, I want to do something. Here's what they say. With one hand, they say, oh no, I don't like the Alabama law. With the other, they say, give me judges that are for the Alabama law and will undo Roe. Is that hypocrisy? Are we going to expose them? All the Republican senators who vote for judges who will repeal Roe and then say they don't want to. BS. Here's what some of the judges they voted for. Judge Leonard Grass, he said Roe v. Wade is morally bankrupt. Judge Amy Coney Barrett, she said Roe was erroneously decided. The one they voted for last week, just about all of them, or every Republican, she said Planned Parenthood kills 150,000 women and contraceptives cause cancer. And now they're going to move Stephen Clark, who's affiliated with a group that compared Roe to Dred Scott. They think he should be a federal judge. Do we? Do we think the federal society, which is dedicated to repealing Roe, should pick judges? No! This is their game plan. Their game plan is to load up the bench. That's why we're here at the Supreme Court, with people who want to undo Roe, repeal Roe, greatly curtail Roe. That's their game plan, but we are here to expose them. We are here to show America that America is pro-choice. And America will not stand for Republican senators who work to undermine Roe. I'm with you all the way. On to victory, everybody.
First, my new colleague
25 men in Alabama voted to take away women's rights to our own bodies, join me in saying, stop the bans! Stop the bans! If you want to send a message to the justices, write up those steps that Roe versus Wade is the law of the land and they must uphold it. Say, stop the bans! Stop the bans! If you believe that reproductive health care is health care, that abortion care is health care, say, stop the bans! Stop the bans! I'm Lena Wen and I am the president of the Planned Parenthood. I am a doctor and my job is to take care of women in this country. And on behalf of the 1 in 5 women in America who have come to Planned Parenthood for care, I stand with our patients to denounce these unprecedented, unethical, and dangerous attacks on women's health and rights. And I thank our champions in Congress for standing with us, ready to fight here on the steps of the court, in the House, and in the Senate. Look, these extreme bans are no coincidence. First, Trump and Pence filled the courts with judges willing to give politicians power and control over women's bodies. And we are looking at you, Brett Kavanaugh. And second, they started a misinformation campaign, manufacturing crises to cover up for what they are really doing. Which is third, they passed extreme bans in order to overturn Roe. Are we going to stand for that? No! Because for their dystopian plan to work, there is one more step. They need us to be silent. No! Does anyone here think that women in this country will stay silent while our rights are being taken away from us? Does anyone think that any of us, women, men, all people, will stay silent when they endanger our health and strip us of our bodily autonomy? No! So here's our message to you, President Trump. We will stand up and we will speak out, because we have had enough of you, all you politicians who know nothing about people's bodies, and yet you're making decisions for patients about their health. We will stand up and speak out, because we know you're keeping people unhealthy is a tool of oppression and stigmatizing reproductive health. We will stand up and speak out, because you don't get to call yourself pro-life when you are taking health care away from people. And we will stand up and speak out, because we are Planned Parenthood, and we stand with women, men, and all people in this country who fight to protect everyone's health and rights. So to President Trump and to all your allies, hear our voices as we say, we will never be silent. We will never back down. And America stands with Planned Parenthood. And we will fight now and all the way through November 2020 to make sure that you don't get to keep your jobs in state legislatures. In the White House, President Trump. Today, say, stand up, speak out.
Stand up, speak out.
If you will always stand with us to protect the right to safe, legal abortion care, say, stand up, speak out.
Stand up, speak out.
You will fight with everything you have because this is the fight of our lives, for our lives. Say, stand up, speak out.
Stand up, speak out.
If you are with me, let's work together. Text no bans to 22422. No bans to 22422 and say it with me one last time. Stop the bans!
Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stay with me because you still got a chance to hear from some faith leaders, some folks who are doing work on the ground, a brave person who's going to share their abortion story. But first, please help me welcome Congresswoman Jackie Spear from the great state.
Thank you, pro-choice advocates, men and women alike. Today I'm here to say, you know me. I am one of the 1 in 4 women in this country who have had an abortion. We are not strangers. We are wives, we are mothers, we are sisters, and we will not be stigmatized. We also refuse to be weaponized. Back in 2011, I stood on the House floor and listened to one of my colleagues talk about a second trimester abortion, something he has never endured, something I had endured, something that was a painful experience of a fetus that I wanted to have be born, and yet, because of medical complications, that couldn't happen. So I had what is called a dilation and evacuation, an abortion in a second trimester. I am not ashamed of that. That was a decision. That was a decision I made with my husband and my physician, and that's the only way those decisions. So now we have men in state legislatures around this country that think it's okay to send women to prison or give them the death penalty for having an abortion. What do we say to that? Vote them out!
Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
In Alabama, we had 25 white men, none of whom have ever had a pregnancy nor an abortion, decide that at conception, all doctors who did abortions would be subject to 99 years in prison, while rapists would have less of a sentence. And what do we say to them? Vote them out!
Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out!
So I'm here to say we are not scared. We will not be timid. We are going to stand for every woman and man in this country who believes the decision to have an abortion is a decision that is made personally, in conjunction with one's physician and one's family. Standing behind me is a statue of a woman that is called Contemplation of Justice. Well, we're saying to the Supreme Court, stop contemplating, provide justice to each and every one of us. So let's end by saying, stop the bans!
Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans! Stop the bans!
Thank you.
Next, from the great state of Florida, Congresswoman Donna Shalala.
reparations for all. Mr. President, your position is racist and sexist and homophobic. We are pro-choice and we are proud. And we will stop the ban.
Stop the ban! Stop the ban! Stop the ban! Stop the ban!
All right, y'all, let's hear it! This organization is doing work on the ground in Alabama and Georgia. The executive director of URGE, Unite for Reproductive Justice, Gender Equity, Kimberly All right. Good afternoon, good people. Am I doing this wrong?
No, we can hear you. No.
Where are Southerners in this crowd? What about my Midwesterners? It has been a week, hasn't it, y'all? My name is Kimberly McGuire, and I am the Executive Director of URGE, Unite for Reproductive and Gender Equity. We are the only national reproductive justice organization that centers the leadership of young people to build power in the South and the Midwest. I bring greetings today from URGE staff, youth leaders, and partners on the ground in Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio. States where already harmful regimes of abortion restrictions have given way to total abortion bans. For those of you who have been working and building in these movements with us, I see you and thank you for what we've been doing. For those of you newly joining the conversation, welcome. We need every single one of us. For too long, anti-abortion restrictions have shut down clinics. Politicians have shamed us for our decisions. We demand an end to the shame, bans, and attacks on our care.
Yeah.
And it's not just Alabama. Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Ohio have also passed bans that make abortion a crime. And if you think your blue state is exempt from these restrictions, remember that 37 states require forced parental involvement with a young person's abortion, whether or not that young person can or feels safe doing so. Young people are harmed by every single restriction on abortion. And young people have been fighting these abortion bans every single step of the way. This spring, URGE canvassers contacted more than 24,000 young people in the South and the Midwest to talk about voting, civic engagement, and reproductive justice. Over 9,000 young people signed our pledge to be abortion positive. Young people, Black women, and queer and trans people of color we crowded the rope lines of the Georgia legislature to make our voices heard. We filled the gallery of the Ohio House as anti-abortion politicians pushed their extreme agenda. And we rallied, and flew a plane, outside the Alabama State House and Governor's Mansion. And this time, we lost. If these bans are allowed to take effect, it will not end abortion, but some people will be blocked from care. Others will have to turn their lives upside down, forced to travel hundreds or thousands of miles for care they can't afford in a city they don't know. Others will do what they need to end a pregnancy on their own and may face investigation or jail for doing so. Every abortion ban is extreme. One person blocked from getting the abortion they need is one person too many. This moment calls us to be bold, to demand not only an end to abortion bans, but to demand care with dignity. This moment calls us to be inclusive, to name and embrace our trans and non-binary family who also need pregnancy. It calls us to follow the leadership of those who have been fighting for reproductive justice for a long time. It's time to follow young people. It's time to follow Black women. It's time to follow Southerners and Midwesterners. Please support organizations like ARC Southeast, Spark Reproductive Justice, Yellowhammer Fund, Women Have Options Ohio, NAPOF, Women with a Vision, Mississippi Freedom Fund, and so many more. And finally, if you came to save
or insult the South, please reconsider. No one needs saving, but we welcome co-conspirators. In the words of Willa Watson, Indigenous Australian artist and activist, if you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come here because your liberation is bound up in mine, then let us work together. Together to fight reproductive oppression in all its forms. Let us live the values we speak and how we treat one another every single day, and let us win.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
Home stretch, folks. We're in the home stretch. We've got a few more voices to hear. Next up from the great state of California, Congressman Eric Swallow.
Thank you. I am a proud male feminist, and I am proud to be here with you to march today to say your body, your choice. But I want to tell the young people who are here something. I want to tell you something. If we had not won the majority in the House of Representatives, they would be doing this same nonsense across the street. They'd be doing it across the street. So your votes, when you walked and you made phone calls and you knocked on doors and you helped us win in places like Texas and Oklahoma and Iowa and Kansas, you made sure to say, not in this house. Not in this house.
Thank you.
My wife Brittany also wants you to know we've got two beautiful children, Nelson and Cricket. But the decision to have children was her choice. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to walk with our brothers and sisters down in the South. We're going to march with them, we're going to link arms with them, and we're going to change those state houses on the way to change the White House. We can do that, but I don't want us to aim so low that all we do is believe we're going to protect Roe. Roe is already protected. Let's not aim so low to believe that's all we have to do. Let's put into concrete in our laws that Roe is protected. But let's also do this. Let's aim so high to believe that we can repeal the Hyde Amendment. That choice is every woman's choice, not just a woman with health care's choice. Are you ready to walk?
Yes!
Are you ready to link arms?
Yes!
Are you ready to vote them all out?
Yes!
ban assault rifles. So it's not about saving lives and saving children. It is about continuing the systemic oppression of certain communities. And those communities are usually black, brown, poor, trans, non-binary. So when you are here, you're providing more power and more freedom to those communities. We want to keep it going. One of the most radical things you can do is pay for people's abortions. So I am a case manager for the DC Abortion Fund. That is the local fund. If you're not from DC, that's okay. Look up your local fund and donate to them. Okay? Because what funds do, they close the gap between abortion being legal and between abortion actually being accessible. Those are two very different things. Because even in countries where abortion is illegal, certain people can still get them. If you have money, if you are privileged in any way, you can get them. But it's about actual access to health care. So if after today, you want to be a badass, then go find your local abortion and pay for people to have that power and freedom in their lives, because that's the way to do it. Because that's how we keep abortion accessible. And if you want it to be a true choice, then people need to be able to afford it. It's not just legality. It's both of those. Thank you, and I hope you join me in always working towards keeping it a true choice accessible for all folks and all communities, while at the same time working to one day not need abortion funds. My body, my choice! My body, my choice! My body, my choice! My body, my choice! We're gonna keep it moving. You gotta fund abortion, but you also gotta make sure the government can pay for it. Blow that hide, everyone. Today, for people who have had abortions, who will want abortion, who will need abortion in the future, and that work takes all of our voices to create this next one. So I want to get our faith on right now and bring up some amazing faith leaders. No vagina, no voice!
I'm Reverend Cantor. I am Senior Minister of First Unitarian Church in Dallas. That's the seed place of Roe v. Wade. The women in my church in the 70s started studying what it meant for a woman to have power over her own body. Now, they weren't all on one page, but as they studied, which we got to ask some people in charge to actually study this issue, really, like the women of my church. As they studied, they realized that one woman should have the right to make a choice over her body, and that meant that all women should have the right to make a choice over her body. I'm the chair of the Clergy Advocacy Board for Planned Parenthood. We are clergy united for justice. We are clergy united for choice. We are here to tell you that not all people of faith are against abortion. That all real people of faith should be about agency, about freedom, and about power over one's own body and soul. So I want to hand the mic to some preachers here. We got Pastor Fisher and Pastor Dosa going to speak to us.
I'm Dr. Earl Fisher. I pastor a Black Baptist church in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm here today because I am the son of a black mother, Claudia. I am the brother of a black sister, Tyranny. And I am the husband of a black, beautiful woman, Denise. And I refuse to sit idly by while mostly rich white men pass laws that oppress my mother, my sister, and my wife under their thumb. I'm here as a person of faith who refuses to yield one single solitary inch of religious and moral high ground to racial bigots and religious hypocrites. They say they're establishing the funding that they need. And it kills people. They are not pro-life because they don't pass access to health care, and that kills people. They are not pro-life because they won't pass livable wage laws and livable wages. So I won't yield at all. And I'm also somebody who organizes in Memphis to give more political power to more people. So what we have decided to do is when somebody is so insensitive and ignorant and heinous to pass or support these types of laws, we are committed to voting them out. So I just needed everybody to know, not all faith leaders are insensitive or ignorant. Some faith leaders actually believe in protecting the rights of God's people, and all women are God's people. Thank you.
My name is Marcy Glass. I'm a Presbyterian pastor from Boise, Idaho, here with over 50 clergy. They don't all fit on this stage, but there are a lot of people standing behind us. And I wanted to read to you a bit of the statement that the Planned Parenthood Clergy Advocacy Board has said in response to these Alabama laws. We condemn the recent Alabama legislation that outlaws abortion and would jail doctors for life for providing women with basic health care. The Alabama legislation is just another tragic example of a national effort to restrict reproductive health, and as clergy from a wide range of faith communities and perspectives, we remind everyone that many different religious groups affirm the moral goodness in access to abortion care. We are grateful that you are here with us today, and I want to introduce you to my sister Clergy, who is going to share an important word.
Good people, I am here before you as a pastor. And what that means is that I love Jesus. Amen. I love Jesus, and I seek everything in my heart to follow him. I also had a DMC about 12 months ago, and I believe in and actually stand for and will put my body on the line to say this. And this is what I mean by this. Just by standing up here and being a representative of the Christian faith and saying what I'm about to say, people who claim to be for life will come for me. They will continue their death threats. They will try to make it so dangerous for clergy to speak up and out about our access to abortion. But that's not what life is about. And I want to say that I love Jesus, and I believe the Bible when it says that life begins at breath. Yeah. Life begins at breath. Yeah. And if you want to look it up, because I know the Bible, nobody can out-Bible me. Maybe a few people, but very few. Look it up in Genesis 2. Look it up in Ezekiel 37. If you want to hear about abortion in the Bible, read Numbers 5. All right? Check that. But here's what I want to say. You can love Jesus. You can have had an experience of abortion, either personally or somebody you know has had an abortion. And I want to say to you right now, you don't need to be forgiven for that. Abortion is not inconsistent with your faith. There were people in church who were co-opted and taught false things about what God has said about abortion. And lots of Christians in this country were duped into following that. You do not need to be in their shoes. So thank you for listening. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you. Amen, y'all. All right, we're going to keep it moving. I have some more legislative champions that I want to welcome to the stage. First, from the great state of Massachusetts, Representative Seth Bolton.
I'm a man. I'm a Christian. and I'm here because I support women, and I know all of you. I'm also a member of the House of Representatives, and it is not my job to come to Washington to take away the rights of my wife.
Yes!
It's not my job to come to Washington to take away the rights of my daughter.
Yes!
And the fact that we are still fighting for basic rights here, 40 years after this was settled law. This is the pin I'm wearing right now for women's suffrage. This is celebrating the fact that 100 years ago, women got the right to vote. And yet women still are under assault for the basic right to choose, and that is wrong.
Yes!
We're here today for one reason. We're here today because of Brett Kavanaugh.
Yes!
That is why.
Impeach Kavanaugh!
How many of you think that Kavanaugh lied in his confirmation hearing? How many of you think that lying is a teachable offense?
Yes!
How many of you think that Brett Kavanaugh should be on the Supreme Court?
Yes!
Let's get him out.
Yes!
Let's get them all out. Thank you for standing up for basic rights.
I've got two senators doing a selfie back here. They're gonna hashtag it stop the ban. Yes. All right, y'all. Next up from the great state of New York, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. This is an amazing day of action. We have women and men who love us, who are marching against these outrageous bans across America in every one of our 50 states. This is the beginning of a long march. This is the beginning of President Trump's war on women. If he wants this war, he will have this war and he will lose. The attacks that we've seen in Alabama, in Georgia, in 30 states across the country are unprecedented. They are criminalizing reproductive decisions by women. They are criminalizing our doctors and our caregivers. They are criminalizing the most intimate, fundamental decisions that we as women, as mothers, have a right to make. We deserve basic human rights in this country. We deserve civil rights in this country. We deserve autonomy for our body in this country. That means we are going to have to fight with every fiber of our beings. And vote! Yes, and vote, and organize, and fight. This is not a small thing. We were here, all of us stood here fighting against Kavanaugh because we knew what Kavanaugh was about. Yes. It was about President Trump's decision to make Roe v. Wade overturned. We knew from the time he appointed Gorsuch, we knew from his campaign when he posted 20 justices he would consider nominating. We knew this was his design. And because of his design to take away women's reproductive freedom, he has emboldened state legislatures across the country to do the unthinkable, to do an all-out attack on women's reproductive freedom, to not just overturn Roe v. Wade, but literally turn back the clock decades on women's basic civil rights. Women's rights are human rights. Women's rights are civil rights. Women's rights are women's rights. Women's rights are human rights.
citizens in this country by President Trump. Women are being demeaned. Women are being devalued. Women are being ignored. How do you feel when you are being ignored? You will not be ignored, and you will fight for your rights. You will fight for your voice in this democracy. You will take back this democracy. You will put your power into your hands, and you will fight. We will not grow weary. We will not grow tired. We will not give up. We will flip the Senate, and we will demand. Let me end with this. Our democracy only works when the people of this country stand up and demand it. It only works when you're willing to put everything you have on the line to fight for what you believe in. I cannot tell you how important this moment in our country's history is. I cannot tell you how important it is for groups like Planned Parenthood and NARAL and every advocate who are bleeding and dying for this country and for our rights. Do not allow this moment to pass without you putting everything you have behind it. Organize, advocate, and vote. 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 And when we do, we will win.
All right, y'all. Next up, from the great state of New Jersey, the Garden State, Senator
It is so good to see everybody here. We are not powerless. We will not stand for this kind of attack on human rights. This kind of attack on women's rights. This kind of attack on trans rights. We know that the best definition of hope is that hope is the active conviction that despair will never have the last word. Well, the legislators in Alabama will not have the last word. Those legislators in Georgia will not have the last word. And just as it was in the civil rights movement, a governor from Alabama will not have the last word on all. And I'll tell you this, I'm happy to see everybody here, but fellas, to all the men that are here, we must wake up more men to join this fight. And it's not because we have daughters and mothers and wives. It's because this is an issue for all people. We must understand that this is assault on human dignity. It's an assault on human liberty. It is an assault on human freedom. And as James Baldwin wrote to Angela Davis, if they come for you in the morning, you can be sure that they're coming for us at night. And let's remember how we got here. We didn't realize that when they are assaulting voting rights in this country, like we saw the schemes that were played in the state of Georgia, that when you see people get elected in undemocratic ways, they will pass laws that are undemocratic as well. When over 70% of Georgians reject the idea of their heartbeat bill, we know we have work to do in our democracy. And our challenge now
is not just those people who seek to push extreme actions. Our challenge right now is also to wake up all those other people who do not realize that they're coming after human rights and human dignity. The opposite of justice is not just injustice, it's also apathy and indifference and inaction. This is a day in America where we must understand there can be no neutrality.
Yes!
Do you stand with freedom or do you stand with tyranny? Do you stand with self-determination or do you stand with the kind of laws that take away liberty, that take away freedom, that take away your own economic choices? This is an assault on the ideals of our nation. I want us to take a moment to remember how we got to Roe v. Wade. This was a time in our past where the rights and the passage of Roe v. Wade happened not because 9 people decided it so. The pathways to the rights and the liberties that women have been gaining in this country have come from the struggle of millions of women and men allies all around this country for decades and decades, struggle and sacrifices, even death. But our generation now can't simply lay back and luxuriate in the blessings of their struggles. Because freedom, liberty, and democracy must be re-earned in every generation. And the only way to secure them is with sacrifice and struggle, with organizing, with advocacy, and with voting. We have work to do so that we codify Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. We have work to do until we get rid of the Hyde Amendment once and for all. We have work to do until we can roll back the Trump and the Pence assaults on women's contraceptive care. We have work to do until the United States ends the global gag rule as well. Our common cause, our common fight, from abolition to civil rights, from workers' rights to women's rights, the intersectionality of our cause. We must understand that today is a day where we are seeing in our land people trying to take us backwards. But we must go forward. It is time that we join with our ancestors. It is time that we wake up the echoes of those who came before. It's time that we take back to the streets and start to march and start to organize, start to advocate, and start to vote to make sure that our children and our children's children never see a day again where somebody in some legislature tries to come for all rights.
Let me just tell you that I just left an appropriations committee
markup on the defense bill in which Republican members and the defense appropriations bill were trying to stick their nose in a woman's right to choose. They can't help themselves. They got no record for working class people. They got no record on health care. They got no record on criminal justice. They got no record on women's rights. So they got to reach for the most extreme positions to get between a woman and her doctor, and we're going to tell them that ain't never going to happen. It is time for us to be united on this issue. And let me just say, na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. Na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. You guys are good singers. Let me just say this briefly, because I got to get back to work. I wish I didn't have my tie on. You all look much more comfortable than me. Let me just say this briefly, if I can have a quick conversation with you. When I first came to Congress, I was 29 years old. I came from a Catholic school background. I came from a Catholic family. I came from a Catholic community, and I was a pro-life Democrat. I spent time with Rosa DeLauro. You know Rosa? I spent time with Cecile Richards and the leaders at Planned Parenthood. I spent time with the leaders of NARAL. And I met women for the first time in my life that had had an abortion. I met women who had to deal with very difficult, complicated circumstances in their pregnancies. And over time, because of the courage of the women who came into my office and who wanted to help craft legislation, I changed my position. And I came to realize that it is the stories of the women, it's the courage of these women, especially in the last couple of weeks, who have stood up bravely and told their stories and told your stories. And as a white male from Northeast Ohio, I want to say how thankful I am for your commitment to this cause, for the commitment to women's rights, for the commitment to women's health care. And I will say that many of us find it insulting. My wife has had 3 babies. I find it insulting that some white man legislator is going to accuse women of infanticide and not caring about kids. It shows such a disconnect. It shows such a disconnect from what women have to go through, the sacrifices, the love, the commitment of motherhood. And I'm here to just say, I will join you, I will walk with you every step of the way. And I want to say one last thing. When are these legislators gonna give a shit about the baby once it's born?
women. We are 52% of the voting base. This is my body. This is my right. Fight like hell so every woman in America has the right to make the decision about their reproductive health. So I want you to think about something. Have we had a single discussion about vasectomy? Is that a reproductive right for men? No! Then let's write a bill to say they cannot have a vasectomy. Have you heard anything about discussion about Viagra? No! But they want to have a discussion about us having the right to use contraceptives so that we can have control over our lives. So don't get it twisted. This is about men having control over women. And 100 years ago, today we got the right to vote. Now that we have the vote, let's show them what we're going to do with it. We are not going to be quiet. We are not going to sit here and let a group of old men sit in a room and tell us what we can do with our bodies. I'm a black woman in America. And I can tell you, throughout history, and even today as we celebrate the right to vote, it did not give me, as a black woman, the right to vote. Right now in America, black women are dying from childbirth at a higher rate than any other group. But they want to sit here and talk about my contraceptives and where are my rights for reproductive health. They're slashing funding for children after they're born, but you're going to sit here with your arrogance, with your disrespect, and your desire to control us. And tell us, pass laws to tell us what we can do with our body. We, women, know your power, know our voice as we gather here today. It's not over. Stand up, we must fight. And for all those women that are yelling or people saying they're pro-life, God bless you. If you get pro-choice, you have the right to do whatever you want. That's why I'm fighting for this so every woman in America. Every woman in America has the right to make the decision for themselves. I'm not tired. I'm not giving up. And this battle, if it does anything, energize you, make you know that we're on the right path. And think about those girls who's coming after us. See, the suffrage women and African American women marched and protest so we can have these rights and freedoms today. That's what we're doing. This isn't just about us. This is about the children and girls who are coming after us. It's about every man that's standing here today to know that women are equals and we deserve to have rights and freedoms just like Repeat after me. My body. My body. My right. My rights. My freedom. My freedom. And don't come after me.
We are the ones we have been waiting for.
Don't you come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Oh, why don't you come on over, man? Fuck you, go home, 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 fuck you, go
I heart counting up. You guys must all love me because you keep taking pictures of me.
Is it Pastor curfew? Don't you need to go home? Play with your toys. Go home. Mommy's
But why are you pro-choice? Why are you pro-choice? But it's the baby's body. The baby's the one that's suffering. And even if you don't believe, it's a human, you have to realize that. Even when it's a zygote, you have to realize that it's going to become a human in the future. Even if you don't think it's human now.
Have you ever got fucked before?
I don't know what that has to do with any of that. We're talking about babies being murdered here. Not about my life or your life. This is about the baby's life. It's women being murdered and babies being murdered.
I'll tell you what. All sorts of people being murdered. And you come and talk to me and let me know how you feel about it.
It's babies being murdered, black babies, white babies, Mexican babies, Asian babies, all sorts of babies.
And the women who die? The women who get no health care?
There are millions of babies.
This is the God that you believe in? You're on the, you believe in a God
to murder more babies? Is that the solution? To kill more people? Is that the solution?
I'm a rabbi, and I'll tell you this, people of faith are not standing on the side of death like you are. People of faith do not stand on the side
Planned Parenthood centers are the side of that. Those are the places that are murdering babies. They're murdering millions of people, and no one's talking about that.
You know what?
Everyone here, can I tell you something? I don't think, a lot of these people don't even know what they're talking about. They're holding up a sign because their friends are here, and there's peer pressure to do so, and we didn't change that.
Peer pressure?
No, peer pressure is not about, this is about saving babies' lives.
This is the lives of women.
This is about the lives of babies that are being murdered. Planned Parenthood,
when there is not legalized abortion for people,
millions of babies, and no one's talking about that. Let's talk about those
when there is not legalized
abortion,
women die. Are you okay with that?
We're talking about the babies. The babies are the ones that are being killed right now. Planned Parenthood is not saving any lives. Planned Parenthood is murdering people. Planned Parenthood is murdering tens of millions of babies. I've been threatened, I've been hit, I've been pushed. We have all of this on video, and no one's doing anything about it. And it's groups like High Schools for Freedom that are going to expose this bias. In California, you can get an abortion at 12 years old in middle school or high school without parental consent. And as you can see, you probably can't even hear me because all these people are so nuts. And this just proves how crazy the left is. And how there's no conversation here. There's a double standard between what the right can say and what the left can say. And it's just very sad to see that this is what's happening to our country. We can't even have a dialogue, and that's what's going on. The left has to intimidate and harass people to get their points across. Whereas I'm just here trying to have a dialogue, and I've said my opinion, and I've been threatened for that. And I think that just shows how far our country has strayed away from its original values. We need to bring that back and make our country great again. People like Kavanaugh that have made a difference. People like Trump that are making a difference. They're making a difference, and we're going to bring that back.
make a difference, and that's what's going to bring us forward and save more lives. That's going to save lives. That's what's going to save lives.